Welcome to another episode of Dad Can We Talk. I'm your host, Anthony Ray, and today is episode 64. Episode 63. I'm getting ahead of myself. Episode 63 on today. And first thing first, as always, for all my listeners and supporters out there, man, go and share the podcast on whatever platform that you use. If it may be Instagram, Facebook, man, I would just highly be appreciative of anybody sharing the podcast and get that word out there, man. All the dads out there, spread the word. Let's get these stories heard. You might have friends, family. If you know other fathers, lead them to some of these podcasts, man. I have about, including the bonus episodes, probably about 70 episodes that I've done with nothing but stories ranging from young guys who on their first child to older men with 6 and 5 children, man. My boy Mike Powers, that boy that got 12 children. I got a lot of guys that's blessed this podcast and came on the platform and shared their story. Let's get these stories out there so that we can just continue to push fatherhood, man. And if you don't have any social media or anything, just continue to get the word out there, man. I like I say, I'm appreciative of people sharing the podcast. And if you need shirts, I got a few more shirts left. Please get with me, because I think after I'm out of these shirts right here, I think I'm done with shirts. I've been pushing the shirts for at least a year and a half. I flooded the streets with them, so I think next up is gonna be some hats or something like that. Just trying to get some different merchandise. So y'all get with me about the shirts. And subscribe to the podcast if you listen to podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you have the time, leave a review so that I can see how I'm doing. I would definitely appreciate that also. But let's get to the task at hand today. Today, man, I'm sitting with a dad that I met about 10 years ago. We were working at UPS for What Can Brown Do For You? And man, we'll just leave it like this, man. We had an experience. It was definitely an experience, but man, we go way back to that right there, and we just thankful that we left those days behind us. Believe me when I say that. For real.
Facts. Blessed.
But yeah, man, you know what? I'm talking crazy. We met before then, though.
Yeah, before then.
We met before then. I met you through my brother.
Mm-hmm.
We met at Santa Fe, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. So we go back a little further than the Brown, actually. But yeah, man. But I always looked at this guy as being one of those stand-up guys in the community. I've watched how he's grown as a father, as a husband, and I just love just watching other men grow and become things that, like from what I seen him being at UPS as a sorter to what he is now.
Right.
To what he is now, man. It's a whole different thing. It's a complete 180, man. And I think dads like this should get to just we should be able to, give them their roses. That's just I'm big on that, like really giving dads their roses while they can smell them, because we need that, man. And at times I don't think black men get, the credit and the praise that they deserve. Right. At times because of whatever reasons out there.
Right.
But I want to give this man the opportunity to tell this story today, because I believe he has one that can help at least one person out there, man. So Man, we're going to get into this. We're going to jump into this today. But y'all welcome to the show, my man Tommy Jonas. What up with you, my boy?
Hey, man, it's another day in paradise, baby.
Yes, sir. Man, we finna get it in, bro.
Yes.
So, first question I always ask on the podcast is the same. And we're going to go there right now, man. What was your relationship like with your dad?
Okay, so my relationship with my dad was basically, he did what he could.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I, was mainly at my grandmother's house because they would work. My mom, my dad was working. That's what they did. They worked all the time. So maybe around like when I got older, around like I'd say maybe 13, around that age, my grandmother passed.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, she was everything to me. So when that happened, a part of me left also.
Mm-hmm.
So with growing up, my father, he worked all the time. Work. So it got to a point where, you would have activities where I play football or whatever the case may be. I would look for my father to be there.
Yeah.
He couldn't be there because of work.
Mm-hmm.
Bills, they kept coming.
Mm-hmm.
They kept coming, of course. So growing up, that could leave a void.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would look for attention that you felt like you deserved, but you didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And then you would look to other people for answers as to why I have this void and how do I fill this void.
Mm-hmm.
That could be tough.
That's real.
That's reality. That's the realness that people don't talk about. Wanting that attention, wanting that hug, looking over on the sidelines and saying, okay, is my parent there? And you looking, they're not. That's a void.
That's real.
But at the same time, I had to realize growing up that he didn't have the things that I wanted also. I learned that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to give somebody something that you never received to begin with.
All right.
I had to realize that. And I had to realize that at an early age to become who I am today. Mm-hmm. Because I have a younger brother and a younger sister that basically I had to be there for. I was the one, on the stove cooking the grilled cheese and, making sure they do their homework and stuff and XYZ. So I took on that role at an early age. So basically the time that normal people spend just being kids, I didn't get that. I had to grow up at an early age. I had to become that man that the family needed at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
So being that, it was a lot.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, it's hard for you to process, becoming an adult early when you shouldn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like I said, if the bills didn't get paid, what would happen?
Probably be out on the streets.
You would be out on the street. So most people look at it as, okay, since my parent wasn't there, I'm going to hold that against them. Mm-hmm. But I had to learn early that I can't do that because life is bigger than what I'm seeing right now. Mm-hmm. My dad is out there doing everything that he can to keep the lights on. Mm-hmm. How can you not respect the person for doing that?
Straight up.
Because if the lights aren't on and if the furniture is on the side of the road, what next?
Yeah.
And the burden of a man in a household is very large because everyone looks to you for all the answers. And if you can't give them the answers, then what?
That's real.
Trust is broken. Everything is broken. So everything about him that I've experienced has been a blessing in my life. And I'm blessed to still have him in my life.
Straight up.
Even though I look back and say, yeah, he wasn't there for a lot of things, but he did everything in his power that he could to make sure that I had a better opportunity than he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my eyes, I look at it like he can't do any wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I catch him red-handed in something, I'm still gonna love him because he gave me something that he never had.
That's real.
That's big and that's real. A person could easily harbor hate and anger and resentment because you weren't there at my birthday party, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. But it's easy to look at what a person doesn't do and overlook the things that they do on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
I'd rather look at the things that they do on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who my dad is in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that, bro. I love that. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to look at things that way at times, because I think at times we can be selfish as people.
Right.
And only look at like what benefited us.
Right.
You know, like
right.
Or what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, you know, I even look at my mother. You know, I didn't have my dad there, but you know, I look at things that my mother did. Like, of course, yeah, my mother could have been better at this and better at that. But,
right.
Man, my mother was out here trying to make it happen for 3 children.
For 3 kids.
So it's like, yeah, of course, there were certain things that we didn't have or we couldn't do. But it's like, man, bump that. Boy, my mama was out here making a way.
Hustling.
For real. Like, really out here trying to make a way. And that's the stuff that I always choose to look at, like, all right, yeah, of course this ain't happening. Like, okay, I can look way past that. Like,
right.
But when I start talking and thinking about the things that my mom did do, it's like
it overrides all the negative things that you could possibly think about.
Crazy.
Because most people get to the point where, you know, that hate and that anger consumes them, and when the person leaves Earth, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that anymore. And you have to realize that those people that are put in your life, whether it be your father or your mother, they're there for a reason. Mm-hmm. That's a part of you.
Straight up.
That's your DNA. So even if you feel like they did you wrong, that's still a part of you. They hold a part of your character. They hold a part of your flaws. They hold a part of your successes. They're a part of everything about you, whether you choose to have them in your life or not. You still gonna have a part of them in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You could grow up and not have one of your parents in your life, and then you finally meet them when you get older, and then you realize you're just like them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is you walk like them, or you talk like them, or you look like them, or you simply just enjoy the same things that they enjoy, they're still a part of you.
Straight up.
So why not take advantage? Like you said, give them their roses while they're here, so that you can learn more about yourself and what to do and what not to do. Because they've already lived the life that you want to live right now. They done been through that already.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they weren't there, why not take advantage of saying, okay, I still can learn something from this person.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a mistake by me being born or birthed from this person. Because I came from this person. It's not a mistake. It's God ordained. Mm-hmm. God put this in motion. Mm-hmm. He could have gave you any parent in the world, but he gave you that one.
Yeah.
So why not take advantage of that? So that's what I chose to do, was take advantage of knowing that, okay, this is who God put in my life. Let me focus on learning why this person was designated to me.
Straight up. That's real, man. That's real. Were there any other men that you ever looked up to, or any other role models, any other men that stepped in, and any other people that just was there for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Uncle Glenn, amazing person. Every summer, I mean, I would be there at their house in Palaca.
Yeah.
They the ones that took me to Disney World and XYZ, you know, all the good stuff and everything. They the ones that did that, Monty and Uncle Glenn. Major impact in my life. Major impact. My Uncle David Jonas. I mean, amazing person. Every time I see him, you know, you know those people that have just that positive energy that you just
Yeah.
need in your life, that you just gotta have, whether it's just, you know what I'm saying, sitting down and having a conversation with them. You leave with something that you didn't have before you sat down with them. He's another impactful person. Another huge impact in my life is Pastor BJ. Man, he was my therapist, basically.
Yeah.
He helped me through,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? That was the first time I actually sat down and cried in front of another man about the things that I was dealing with as a man. And it took courage for me to actually sit down and actually seek that type of help. Because when you think about mental health in our community, most people overlook that. They don't want to really talk about like the traumas and all the things that happen in their lives growing up. And we just walk around and hold it and harbor it and end up just hurting so many people along the way. I didn't want that anymore. So I sat down with him, man, and actually went through the therapy thing and the counseling and everything. And man, one day I just broke down, man, just boo-hoo crying like a little baby.
Yeah.
Because I had opened up about all the things that I had been through. And he helped me through it. And that helped me become the man that I am today. So for him, I'm forever, man, thankful.
Yeah.
I will forever be thankful for the things that he instilled in me just by sitting down with me and taking the time out to say, okay, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
These are the things that you can do.
Yeah.
This is how you overcome those things. And that made me a better man. That made me a better husband. That made me a better father. Those things are crucial. Just having that person that you could sit down and talk to, that's big. If it makes you feel like you really could conquer and do anything in this world after you've actually sat down and worked on fixing yourself first. And I knew I had to fix me first, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing is realizing that I had to fix me first before I could actually bring anybody else into my life or in my circle.
Got some of that free game, huh?
I had to do the work, man.
Yeah.
I had to. And I had to find the right person to do it with, to guide me. And of course, I observed him. You know, I watched how he walked, how he with his family and XYZ, because anybody could sit there and say, like, you know, this is who I am in public, but go home and beat their wives and XYZ, and you're a totally different person.
Yeah.
Because like I always say, kids know the real you. You could be anybody you want in public, but your children know the real you because they're with you all the time.
Straight up.
I watched how his kids interacted with him, not the other people around. I watched how his kids interacted with him. I seen how they looked up to him as a leader, as somebody that they adore, that they love to be around. And I seen how he treated his wife.
Yeah.
And I said, I want that.
All right.
And I had to admit that I was a broken person at the time. I was broken, man. Like most men, I mean, from woman to woman, you know, just trying to find any type of feeling that they can get to make them feel better. But at the end of the day, you're just digging a bigger hole than what you're already in. And I said, you know, I want what he got in his life. So I sat down with him and I said, listen, man, I want what you got in your life and I want to do the work.
Yeah. Straight up.
I did the work and here I am today.
All right. Man, for men out there listening, listen, this is a perfect point. Very, very, very powerful point. A lot of men want a wife. A lot of men want children. A lot of men want a lot of things. But before you can get those things, man, you must be willing to work on yourself. If you ain't working on yourself, man, all you're going to do is bring a woman into your life and mess her life up. You're going to bring children into this world, into chaos. We must start with ourselves.
Facts.
And a lot of men don't do that, man. You know, a lot of times it ain't. I don't think we're doing it intentionally. A lot of times we just don't know. We just don't know how to go about doing that. But what he just talked about is something so powerful. Find another man that you can confide in. You know, find another man who's willing to sit down, hear you out, listen to you, and also help you. We need accountability as men.
Fact.
If you do not have accountability, man, I honestly don't know how you could live that way. I can't imagine not having accountability, especially being a young man. You know, I started getting myself together. It was like 22. At 22, I knew like I need some guidance.
Right.
And you must find a man that or men that you can be accountable to, men that will help you to be responsible over your actions and help lead and guide you and be an example for you. Because he said he had someone that he could watch. You know, how he was with his children, with his wife, the way he walked, the things he did, like all of that is important. And especially if we don't have a dad there that, you know, we could do all of those things with and be intimate in that way with our own dad. Find someone. And there's men out there. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't trust nobody. I can't trust." That's a hard way to live, bro.
Right.
Very, very, very hard way to live because there are trustworthy men out here. You know, you got to be able to trust somebody and find. And I just had to drive that point into the ground, man. What he just said was just a very powerful thing, man. I just pray that we will hear that. Please hear that, because that is very important, man. But I think that point is so powerful, and that's why I really like to ask those questions like that, you know, because even if, you know, we did have a dad, there's other people, uncles and grandfathers and, you know, just men in the community that take on that responsibility. And I just want to give a shout out, like I always do. Shout out to all those men out there that's standing in the gap, you know, being those influences for young men out there, man. Y'all are appreciated for real. You know, but so I want to go here, man. So after all that has happened, this and that, when you first had children, you know, when you first started having children, I want to go back to your first. Right. What was that feeling or that thought that you had when you first found, you know, you first heard those words, "I'm pregnant, you finna be a daddy"?
You know, my first thoughts were, okay, this changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I thought I knew about this world was nothing. I had to realize it. And I had to say, okay, everything that I know is not everything that's going to be able to make me a great father. So let me go and do the work. At that time, you know, I was still immature in my thinking. I was still at a point where I wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. And I don't think any of us are truly ready, you know, at the time once we finally do find out. Mm-hmm. So I just did everything I thought that I knew to do to possibly get myself ready. So whether it be changing the way I dressed, mm-hmm. changing the way I talked, mm-hmm. changing the company that I kept, mm-hmm. because I know Very that important. This child is going to depend on me for everything. And not just the child, but the child's mother also. Mm-hmm. Is going to depend on me the same way my father was being depended on. Mm-hmm. So I knew there was no more room for immature thoughts and immature choices. I knew every choice that I had to make, I had to not only choose for myself, I had to choose for my family also. Mm-hmm. That's a big role, man.
Huge.
That's a big role because, I mean, most people, when they become adults or either leave from home, you know, their parents, they're not fully equipped to be able to take on the world. Mm-hmm. We don't leave with all the tools that we feel like we have to be able to survive on our own. Mm-hmm. So once you do get those words, "I'm pregnant," man, when that heart drop and it go in your stomach and just leave your body, it's like you have an out-of-body experience at the time, and you get the bubble guts or the butterflies, man. You be like, man, go take that test again, man. Hey, let's try it. Hey, boy, I gotta go to a different store to buy a test, boy. This ain't, hey. Hey, that's real talk, man. And then after you faint, pass out, or whatever the case may be, you come back and you like, you know what? I'm happy, you know, I'm excited and everything, but we got some work to do. You know what I'm saying? You got to go back to the drawing board. Yeah. So it's like the drawing board that you had before was just for you. Mm-hmm. But now you got a drawing board with the child and the child's mother that you got to add to it. Mm-hmm. That's work, man.
It's real.
And I was mature enough to know that I needed to make changes, so I started making changes. Not just to everything around me, but my thinking. I started with my thinking. I started reading more. Man, I went and ordered all kind of books off Amazon on how to be a great father and how to be a parent. And, you know, I'm looking at articles and pamphlets, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to go to every doctor's visit. You know, I'm gonna try to be there for everything, because in your mind, you thinking like, okay, I want to be there because my parent wasn't there, or whatever the case may be, for everything. So it's like, okay, I want to drive her home and be like, I'm going to be there for everything. Mm-hmm. But then you get to a point where you realize, dang, I gotta work. I got to miss this doctor's appointment or XYZ. Then you place more value on that parent, because now you're faced with the same choices. Mm-hmm. Do I miss this paycheck that's going to put food on the table? Or do I tell my child, I'm sorry, I can't be there. Daddy got to work. That's real life scenario.
Choices.
That's real life. This is not the stuff on TV that you see. This is real life stuff. So I took on that role. And I said, my father did everything that he could, so I'm going to do everything that I can also. Despite how another person looks at my decisions, I'm going to choose based off of what I know is right for my family. And I had to tune out the outside opinions, because once you find out that you're having a child, everybody wants to provide an opinion. Everybody becomes a expert analysis on what it takes to be a parent. But then once you realize that parent don't even spend time with their kids, but they trying to preach to me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It leaves a void. It leaves you like, dang, man, who can I really trust? Mm-hmm. But I had to realize that, okay, the answer is not in alcohol. Mm-mm. The answer is not in clubbing. Mm-mm. The answer is not in hanging around your homeboys that still want to go and live their lives freely. Mm-hmm. The only answer that I had was, okay, let me realize what God intended this to look like.
Mm-hmm. Straight up.
God intended for this to look one way, but the world teaches you another way. So I said, okay, I'm going to start going to church.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually take it serious. Mm-hmm. I'm going to actually sit down and I'm going to actually listen and look for other men that actually want the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I joined groups, man. My good friend Mike James, he had a men's group there. Mm-hmm. It was amazing where men could just come in and just be free to be themselves. Mm. If you got a porn addiction, talk about it.
Yeah.
If you got whatever kind of addiction, talk about it. Mm-hmm. Freely amongst each other and not worry about judgment. And like we was talking about, every man needs that type of group that they could be in. Mm-hmm. Even if you just come there and just talk about, hey man, I had a rough day at home because my child had a question and I didn't know how to answer it. Mm-hmm. You should be able to say that and talk about that to another man, to try to get that feedback. Because most men end up having daughters anyways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The ratio of a man having a daughter before they have a child, before they have a son, is amazing, man. And I think it's a reason for that. God made it that way for a reason, man. Cause it's like, yeah, you think you know what you're doing. Cause every man, when they find out they having a child, they think immediately, I'm finna go to the mall and hit the boys section real quick. What? And I'm finna check it out. And man, here I go in the mall, man, in the boys section. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, he finna be fresh, boy. And then I thought about it when I went to the men's section in all the stores, and I looked around. I'm like, why is the girls section bigger than the boys section in all the stores?
Alright.
And then once you sit in that in the little doctor's office, man, and they say, "Oh, you got arches." Oh Lord, man,
boy,
man, listen, you got arches. Oh my God, that changed everything.
Yeah, everything.
He's like, man, I got a daughter. I can't be hard on my daughter. All kind of thoughts start going through your head, like, man, it's gonna be boys trying to talk to my. Oh my God, like what? And the thing is, man, there is no instruction manual on how to raise a daughter
whatsoever.
None.
Yeah.
None. So it's like, yeah, your significant other could tell you as much as they can about, you know what I'm saying, being a softer version of you and being more understanding, but at the end of the day, you'll never understand a female. A man will never truly understand the thoughts of a female.
That's that real, boy.
That's real talk. And I had to realize that, man.
Dang.
That's reality.
Yeah, boy.
Because females come with a whole different set of emotions, a whole different set of thought patterns, a whole different set of everything. Because let's just say, if she comes to you and say, "Daddy, I want some cookies." No, baby, you can't have no cookies. In your mind, you thinking like you just said no, but in her mind, her world just ended. Yeah. Because Daddy just told me I can't have cookies. Oh my God, XYZ. Now she in the other room crying, and it's like, and then you go to your significant other. It's like, okay, what's the tone that you use? Your voice is deep, so you're a male, so it's gonna carry a larger weight than a female telling them.
Yeah.
You have to realize those things.
Boy.
So like I said, it changed everything.
Man. Bruh. That right there is just... But we can go all day on these girls. Bruh, this... Boy, that's a whole different just... I'm still trying to figure that thing out.
Right.
8 years in.
Right.
Still trying. I still ain't got the answer.
Right.
I think I've gotten a little better. But I think I've gotten a little better because I've gotten a little better at being a husband.
Right.
Understanding my wife. Because I was looking at this one day, earlier this year, or late last year, I was looking at how I was studying the love languages.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to understand my wife's love language. And then it hit me one day and I'm like, dog, kids got love languages too.
They do. They do.
Like,
they do.
I ain't never focused on their love language. All I do is, I say I can't just love my wife, I gotta love her the right way. And then I'm like, why I don't think about my kids like that? I try to love them just all the same.
Right.
But they're not all the same. They're three different. I got 3 kids, so I got 3 different individuals in my home. Including my wife, I got 4 different individuals in my home that require different things.
And you have to cater to each personality. Because let's just say your wife, she might love that you come and give her a hug first thing in the morning and say, I love you and I appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Your kids might just say, Daddy, I love it when you come in there and just jump on us and tickle us.
Yeah.
That's their love language. Mm-hmm. Or your next child might be like, oh, my love language is you taking me to the park. Mm-hmm. Each person has a different set of thought patterns and different types of emotions that have to be catered to. And if you don't cater to those emotions, it's going to leave that void that you once had. in a different manner.
Straight up.
So everything is critical. You really have to look at everybody and each person that you come in contact with differently than you look at the other. You can't just come home and say, "Hey, family, I brought y'all pizza, and everything," but everybody don't want pizza.
Yeah.
Maybe one person in your family might want pizza, but everybody else, one might want chicken wings, one might want, and then you start looking like, man, I done went and did all this and bought all this pizza and XYZ, and now y'all saying y'all don't want it. Your first thought is, okay, they're ungrateful. Mm-hmm. They should be thankful I did this, but did you take the time out to go and ask each individual, what's your preference? What's your love language? What will make you happy? Taking that time out to just have a simple conversation before you make a choice is one of the biggest, strengths that I have in life when it comes down to being a father. Because I sit down and I actually take the time out to not just assume what my kids want or what my wife wants or XYZ. I actually take the time out to ask, okay, what's on your heart? What will make you happy? And then I act on it. Just taking that time will save you so much frustration along the line.
That's that real.
Yeah.
That's that. and that just reminds me, I still ain't got around to it, but one day I was going to the store to buy my wife some some flowers, get her a little bottle of wine, just surprise her, a card.
Yeah.
And while I was in the store getting that, my oldest daughter said to me, she said, "Well, Daddy, why you don't never buy me flowers?"
There we go.
Because I like flowers too.
There we go.
But you always do it for mommy, but you don't never surprise me. And it just hit, I'm like...
That was a reality check.
You right.
She checked you.
Like...
And it's like, man, I'm getting checked by my child, man. What's going on?
And it was just...
And you can't argue back because they're right.
That's real.
But think about this, though. When I look at that scenario, your child is blessed enough to be able to see her father do those type of things. So she's looking for that same thing at an early age.
Yeah.
So when she gets older and another joker comes around,
all right,
she'll be able to spot them before they even pull up.
Straight up.
Hey, man, listen, I checked my daddy at an early age, and my daddy came correct after that.
Yeah.
If I can't check another man the same way I check my daddy, I don't need him in my life. So that was a blessing that your child was able to identify that at an early age. My daddy did this for my mama consistently.
Yeah.
So who are you to come and not treat me the same way?
That's real. Yeah, that's real, bro. And then, one time we were in the store, and it's funny because they're so different. Like I say, so one time we're in the store, I'm just in there getting groceries. We pass by the flowers, and then my son says, "Well, Daddy, I want to get mommy the flowers." And I was like, "Boy, we ain't come here for all that. I'm in a rush."
Right.
So I'm rushing. I'm going through the aisles. So I look at the joker crying. I'm like, "Bro, what you crying about, bro?"
Right.
He like really mad with me. Like, I want to get mommy flowers. I'm like, "Bro, so you gonna cry about that, bro?"
Right.
I'm just getting off work. I'm tired. I'm moving, and I'm just like, this man really is in this store crying right now. And I took a little picture of him crying. I sent it to my wife. I said, "You know why this joker crying? He crying because I ain't get you no flowers." She says, "My son, he be knowing."
Right.
I said, man, they ain't got no time to be doing all that today. But it hit me. I'm like, dang. Like he's to the point now, we go in the store, we'll be in Wawa, bro. I'm trying to get what I'm getting, boom, boom.
And get out, yeah.
And we didn't get mommy anything.
Right.
Man, mommy at work, bro.
Right.
But that's all he thinking. We got to get mommy something.
Here we go.
So it's like, I showed him so much to the point where now he's like disappointed.
Right.
Like, dang.
But look at the level of expectation that you placed on your kids. Because that's a blessing.
Yeah.
that your child actually esteems your mother so high, and the reason why your child esteems the mother so high is because you do the same thing.
Yeah.
The child wouldn't cry and be so emotional if you didn't value her to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just be another day for the child.
Straight up.
But the child has grown up and seen how you cater to your wife and how you treat your queen and everything. So the child wants to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. So if the child sees you not doing it, that's where those emotions come from.
That's real.
It's like, dang, daddy, you done love mama all this time and now you don't do it no more.
Yeah. That's real.
And then they'll grow up and have the same thoughts like, well, I'll do the same thing. My daddy did it. It's crazy how small things like that could be like basically signs from God to say, okay, I'm going to speak through this child.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show the emotions and the things that you really need to cater to and focus on through this child. Mm-hmm. And kids are a blessing, man.
It be a little too real sometimes, bro.
Hey, man, kids are a blessing because like we said earlier, we're always in class. As fathers, we're always in class, man. Mm-hmm. Because the things that we do today, it's going to last a lifetime for our kids. Because when we leave here, they got to live with all the things that we instilled with them in them to get them through life. And the only way we could do it is through our actions every day. And how we talk to them, how we treat them, and especially how we treat their mothers. That's huge.
So important, man.
That's huge because, I mean, let's just say if there's a scenario where the father and the mother don't get along, still treat that mother with respect.
Straight up.
I mean, it's so easy to point the finger at another person and say that, you know what I'm saying, this is what you did or this is what you did. The kids see everything. Mm-hmm. The kids hear everything. The kids know the real you. So why not treat that other person with respect, even if the person's not giving you the respect back? Because at the end of the day, the kids are watching. The kids are listening. And then when they get older, and if you ever do have a disagreement with your child, the first thing the child is going to do is bring up, well, that ain't how you treated daddy, or that ain't how you treated mama, so who are you to tell me? That's big.
And they'll be most likely telling the truth.
Fact.
One thing about them kids, boy, and that's why I say it be so real at times. It's like you don't even be looking for God to be speaking, boy.
Right.
Boy, when I tell you them kids gonna tell you the 100% truth
100%
about yourself.
Blood raw.
Man.
Uncut.
This morning, bro, I told you I was going at them jokers, man. Fussing at them about their room. And you know, I was just so mad. And you know, I'm popping off. I'm going off. My oldest daughter, she crying. And I say, what you crying about, man?
Right.
Like, I should be the one crying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So she say, so this is what she say. And it kind of made me take a step back. And she say, Daddy, the reason I'm crying is because I already heard you say, and I was trying to just go ahead and clean up, but you still fussing. And when I was younger, you know, when you would be mean to us, you know, and you say all this mean stuff to us, you would always tell us sorry. And now since we got older, you don't never say sorry to us no more.
Oh, that's big.
Man, what? Boy, and I'm like, man, bro, listen. Go clean your room.
Right.
Like, yeah. So I'm feeling convicted. So I say, dang, dog. I say, oh, why don't you just fold the clothes up? I say, let me show you how to fold the clothes. I'm trying to make up for it now. Like, let me show you how to fold the clothes up.
Right.
So I go to folding all the clothes up in the basket. I'm like, do it fast. Like this, boom, just. Before I know it, I done folded her whole thing up. But it's like, I'm just like, dang. I haven't been doing that as much. Mm-hmm. I've been on the case a lot lately. Mm-hmm. And at times I do be saying mean stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and when she said that this morning, I'm just like, and I did used to have a habit of that, like before they go to sleep, you know, I like really go in their room and I really talk with them. Right. One by one, you know, tell them I'm sorry, I love them. Mm-hmm. But as of lately, I just be like, man, bro, listen, go to sleep.
Right.
You know, just, I'll come in the room and give you a kiss in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then before I know it, they done went to sleep. I done forgot.
Yep.
And it's like,
Another
she
day's
only
been-
told the truth
Right.
to me. And it's, when she said it this morning, it hit me. I'm like, dang, boy, there it go. God done spoke again. And it's like, I can't argue. I ain't even gonna try to argue with that because I know she telling the truth.
Fact.
And yeah, bro, like that stuff be that real.
And that's an opportunity. I look at it where you can actually look in the mirror and see yourself, like how you really are with your family. Because as a man, you could easily get caught up in daily routines or daily activities and get so driven on accomplishing goals, whether it be, you know, buying a new car or you know, buying a new house or whatever the goal is that you have in life. Not discrediting those things, but at the same time, we shouldn't focus so much on those things when we have everything we need at home already.
All right, for real.
We have wives, we have kids. Nothing else matters. Those are the true gifts. Material things, whether it be the flashiest car, or that means nothing. I mean, yeah, to other people outside of your household, but if the people in the household that you live in aren't satisfied with the relationship that they have with you, I feel like you failed as a person.
Straight up.
I honestly feel that way because we place so much value on material things and accomplishments in life, whether it be achieving that degree or achieving whatever the case may be, when in reality, those things don't mean anything at the end of the day.
Shoot, sometimes even pleasing other people outside of our house.
Definitely pleasing people outside of your house means nothing. I repeat, pleasing people outside of your household means nothing. Because there's so many people that are success in public but a failure in private. You could be the best speaker in the world, but if your family at home doesn't value you as a person, you fail. You could be a leader to the nations, but if you can't even lead your kids and your wife, you fail.
All right. It's real.
That's reality. That's reality. That's what people don't place value on. They only place value on the things that they can see online. And whenever you hook up and go do whatever dirt you do together, that's what they value. But while you're doing that dirt, your kids are at home wondering when I'm going to get that hug.
All right.
Man, the simplest things to kids mean everything. I took my kids to, I think it's like jumping big or bouncing big or whatever the case.
Yeah, bouncing
man,
big.
listen, I got up there, man, my big behind. I put them socks on, man. I got in there with my kids in the balls. And, man, I'm talking about we had a blast.
That's that fire right there.
And before I actually did it, you know, when we got in, the kids, when they got their stuff, and they went and started playing. And they were playing everything like, Daddy, look at me. Daddy, look at me. And I'm watching and everything, and I'm just so amazed at what God has done in my life with blessing me with these people in my with a family to begin with.
Straight up.
To be responsible for. So I'm just looking and taking it all in, but then I was like, something told me, it was like, man, go get in. It's like, why you just watching?
Yeah. Go join that.
Go join that.
Yeah.
I blessed you with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why not go enjoy it with them? Man, I went and got them socks. I went and hopped in with the kids, man. And when I tell you we had a blast, man, we had a blast. And to this day, my kids talk about that. Like, Daddy, man, when we going again?
Yeah.
Everything that we do, Daddy, you got to jump in with us. And that means everything to me, man. So it's a difference when you're just present or as opposed to actually being involved. Because you can watch from the sidelines, but it hit different when you actually participate.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight, man. One of my favorite things Lecrae said on one of his songs, he said, most of us say we ran in the city. No, he said, we say we ran in the city, but most of us running from home.
Fact.
And I was like, boy,
Fact.
let me repeat that one more time. Cause boy, when he said that,
It hit home.
it hit home, bro. Cause I'm like, that's man, being in the church for over 10 years now, man, I saw that stuff so much, bro, to the point where I'm like, you know, everybody want to seem so good in public,
right?
You know, and we preaching over here, we doing this, we doing that, and everybody want to say how much we running the city,
right?
But in reality, so many men that I've saw be running from home. You running from that responsibility of having to actually love your wife,
fact,
actually having to nurture your wife, like the word tell us to do.
Right.
We don't want to do that type of stuff.
Right.
But we know how to comfort everybody else's wife.
Fact.
And get in the word.
Fact.
We know how to, you know, go into the community and love on everybody else's children. But we can't do it at home.
Fact.
And, you know, just for years, bro, it's like I've saw so many examples of that. So when he said that, I'm like, man, boy, that man just spoke. Just in that one line. We say we ran in the city, but most of us ran it from home. Y'all listen to me. Boy, that's a line right there. Because we see it so much in our communities. And I think that's just, you know, as a husband, we got more responsibility than that, man. And I wanna go there, man, as far as marriage goes. So y'all been married, you say 10 years this year?
It'll be 10 years this month.
10
years, 24.
10 years.
Never cheated.
Yo.
Never cheated.
Okay. Listen, faithfulness. Out of these 10 years, man, what would, like, let's just go with what would you say is the most important thing that you've learned over these last 10 years about yourself?
The most important thing that I learned about myself is I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. And I have to remind myself that constantly. Because every day I feel like being a husband, I feel like I'm constantly in the classroom. Because the way I love my wife last year might not work this year.
All right.
I have to evolve with my wife. Because every day that we wake up, we become better. We all strive to become better than we were yesterday. So the same person my wife was yesterday is not the person she is today. Because we're both growing together. So I had to learn that every day that I wake up, I have to ask my wife, okay, how am I doing as a husband? You know, that's a tough question for a man to ask another person, because you leave yourself wide open to be, you know what I'm saying, criticized and XYZ, and that could be a scary thing. But having those tough conversations, they leave room for growth. Because like we were talking about earlier, it's not until a person puts that mirror in your face that's when reality hit.
Bro, can't nobody put that mirror on you like your child and your wife.
They gonna tell you about yourself, man. And they don't care how you think, how you feel, whether it be through text message and bold letters, or whether it be through a voicemail, or whether it be them coming in the room and hitting you across the head with something and saying you gonna listen to me. You gonna get that message. That's real talk, man. You gonna get that message. And what you do with it, that's on you. Because they gonna give it to you.
Every time. And see, and the reason I asked that question like that, like, what has marriage taught you about yourself? Because I'll be 10 years next year, so I'm right behind you. And the one thing that I really learned through these years in marriage is, like, marriage teaches you about you.
Fact.
Boy, I can look back 10 years ago when I first got married and literally say, bro, like, honestly, boy, when I tell you I was selfish, man, bro, I was like, really, that was a big thing, like, very selfish, stubborn, and I have no regard for other people, you know. And now over the years, you know, having them hard conversations with my wife. And my wife gonna let boy be too mad, boy.
Right.
But she be telling me honest stuff and real stuff. You know, and sometimes when she tell me what's real, I be mad for like 2 days.
Fact. And that's normal. That's
Straight up.
normal. But at the same time, those 2 days, you're thinking about it.
Man, what?
First thing you wake up in the morning, you go to sleep, you wake up. Hey, man, I can't believe she said that to me, man. Like, all I do in XYZ, you gonna sit here and say something like that.
What?
You should be thankful. You should be. But that's the pride speaking through you.
All right.
That's pride speaking through you. It's the reason why our wives sit down and they say those things to us. It's not for us to be feeling like less of a person.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they see something in us that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
They see the man that we want to be and who we were destined to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that it's there in us. Mm-hmm. But they know in their minds that they can't make us be that person.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way they can show that is having those tough conversations and saying those things to us in hopes of us actually understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And no man loves to be criticized.
I know I hate it, boy. I hate it, but I love it.
Right.
I hate it when it's going, like when I'm hearing it. But after I have, you know, take my little days, you know, for God to really get into my head. And after I'm tripping, man, boom, yeah, she tripping. And then it start becoming inward, like, dang, I'm tripping.
Right.
Like, I gotta get myself together. Like, she right, I can do that better.
Right.
Like, you know, sometimes, like one time my wife told me, she said, what she told me a couple months ago, she said, you been slacking on, she said, you know, you used to always bring me the flowers and the car. She said, you barely even do that no more.
Right.
I was like, man, what you talking about?
Right.
I do that. She said, shot what, once every 3 months? Man, what you mean? Like, I be, and it's like, nah, you really right though. You really right. Like, for real, like, and it just, but when she's saying it, I'm mad. Because I'm thinking about all the times I did do it. I'm like, man, what you mean? Like, and it's like, after I get over myself.
Right.
And just look at what she's saying, like, nah, she telling the truth, bro.
And you know the crazy thing is, men are horrible with dates.
Yeah.
A woman can tell you the date, the timestamp, everything. When the last time you did this, that, and the third, she'll break it down, man.
Yeah.
And you can't argue it.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, you thinking like you've been doing it, and the whole time they already got it wrote down. Like, this was the last day you did this.
Man.
And you can't argue it.
Alright. At all. Yeah, bro. And see, and I think that's the type of stuff, like, I like to look back on marriage and just see all the lessons that I've learned over these years. And it's like, I always think marriage, out of everything that I've experienced in marriage, I would say the greatest thing that I've learned with marriage is, like, just that, like, that marriage teaches you.
Right.
Like, marriage isn't meant to be this, you know, lovey-dovey all the time. Like, nah, marriage is a character builder.
Right.
It literally, I believe that God put marriage in place. He instituted that to build character.
Fact.
And that's what I've gotten the most out of marriage. Like, it's made me so much of a better man. Like, you know, just from taking all of these lessons that I've learned, you know, all of my mess ups and all of my failures, and turning that around and just being able to now talk about it, be real and honest about it, and now I can look back on those things and say, dang, boy, I was just thinking about the other day how when we first got married, my wife, I remember, you know, I grew up in a house with all brothers.
Right.
My mama had her own bathroom. So, of course, as boys, we don't think about no damn seat being down. Up.
Oh, man.
So, when we first got married, I remember she was like, why you always leave the seat up? Like, leave the seat up?
Right.
Like, what even is that?
Why does that matter? You know what I'm saying?
Like I'm talking, we got like a real heated conversation. I'm like, so you mad because I left the dang seat, so you can't just go in the bathroom and let a seat down? Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, bro, we got into a real heated argument about that.
Right.
And I'm like, I just don't get, like, why you making a big deal? Like, I ain't never in my life went in the bathroom and said, dang, I want to run a seat down. Like,
right, yeah.
And she was just like, never mind, Shaw, you just don't get it. And I remember just, like, thinking about that. And I remember I asked another woman about it. And she was like, yeah, that's a thing.
That's big. That's big in their world.
And
that's what we go back to. Like, you know, our world and our train of thought means nothing to them. Mm-hmm. Because they think and they feel totally different from a man. Mm-hmm. So it's like you really have to sit down and learn their world. And like you said, learn their love language. Mm. If their love language is leaving the seat down and taking the trash out when it get full, and them not having to tell you when to take the trash out, man, listen, you gotta make them adjustments, because the small things like that could save you so much time and so many headaches in life, and make your life so much easier just by doing those simple things. Mm-hmm. And like we were talking about earlier, I mean, you could easily get wrapped up on what's happening outside of your house and place more value on the things outside of your house, and then the whole time you're just causing chaos for yourself inside the home. Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
Because we give our world to our jobs, we give our world to our friends, and we don't give it to our families. Mm-hmm. That's the disconnect that we really need to focus on as a culture.
Straight up, man. And these are important things for any men out there that might hear this, that if you're married or not married, you know, especially for y'all who aren't married. I mean, for those who aren't married, y'all can these are things that you can learn. Like, if you're not married right now and that's something that you desire and you're or you're thinking about or you're about to go into, man, listen, we talking from experience with this. Like, this ain't no, you know, we kind of thinking about it or this, like, I'm 10 years in this stuff. It's a long time for marriage, and a lot of people don't make it this long, you know. And if you look at the divorce rate and why it's as high as it is, I believe it's because a lot of men and women don't take the time to understand these things. If you don't take the time to understand what it'll take to stay married once you get married, because it's easy to go have a wedding and all that and spend all that money and all that.
Fact.
That's very easy, man. Like, very, very, very easy. But the main thing is learning what it's gonna take to continue to be married, and that is not an easy thing, but it's so doable, man. When you have two people who are willing to compromise.
Compromise is big.
Compromise.
That word
man.
is huge.
If you ain't willing to compromise, you can hang it up.
Don't even attempt to get married if you're not willing to compromise. Because
don't do it.
Compromise is one of the biggest things that you're going to be doing the entire time that you're married. You're going to have to think outside of just your perspective and realize that there's another perspective that you have to entertain also. Mm-hmm. And if you're not willing to meet in the middle, then don't waste the other person's time.
Straight up. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. You're going to waste their time and yours. But, man, I want to go here, man. This is one of my last questions. We'll go here. If you could go back and look the 18-year-old Tommy in his face, you can sit down with him right now, face to face, knowing everything you know now. Mm-hmm. If you can look that young man in his face right now, you can just give him one piece of advice going forward, what would you tell that young man?
I would tell that young man always trust that voice on the inside that's telling you right from wrong. Always trust that voice, because even when you feel like you're in the right, there is always a possibility that there's a different perspective than what you already have. And that voice on the inside will guide you to say, okay, I know how you feel right now, but just think about this. Think about this alternative. Think about the other person's feelings before you speak, before you respond. Always listen to that voice, or at least give that voice consideration before you act, before you speak, or before you respond. That's what I would tell them.
Straight up. That's real. That's real, man. So, anybody out there need that advice? Take it. It's what I like to call it free game. You getting this game for the free 99. Listen to that voice. You got to be able to at least consider it, man. At least. That's what you can do, at least. Consider it, man. And hear that. But man, bro, we done touched on some things. We could go way much longer, but we got some stuff we got to do today, man. It's a lot going on, man. We here in Gainesville, Florida, and we finna watch these Gators get their behind tore up by
Big facts.
By the Alabama
Big facts.
Time,
all
man.
gas, no brakes. The brake pads been fell off, man.
We finna watch them jokers get their behind tore up on, man. But y'all better believe it's so much we can't even get to. We'll be in here for at least 2 hours, man. There's so many things that we could touch on, man. But this right here was good, man. Very, very, very good wisdom, man. And I always like to say this. It's like this type of stuff right here helps me. You know, this podcast, like for me to be able to hear another man's story, hear things that another man has went through. It's therapy for me. It's very therapeutic, man. Just being able to have these conversations and just hear another man's perspective. And, man, you laid down some wisdom today that I needed. And I'm more than sure it was other men that's going to hear this that will need to hear this type of stuff also, man. But definitely appreciate you coming on, man. For real, my boy.
Not a problem. It's a blessing, man.
Yes, sir, man. And y'all stay tuned. My man got a couple things going on. Y'all just be paying attention to my dog page, man. If y'all want to follow him, go to Tommy Jonas on Facebook. You want to shout out your photography stuff?
Yeah, my photography, jonasphotography.net. I mean, I specialize in weddings. So, I mean, I understand what it takes to be married. Like I said, I'll be married 10 years this month on the 24th. So, that's why I specialize in weddings.
Yeah. Y'all need them photos, man. Get with my homie. You know, he does a lot of events. Y'all, if y'all need I'ma just say this, for your photography needs, holla at my boy, and he gonna get you right. You hear what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, y'all continue to stay tuned to the podcast, man. We got a lot going on next week. I'll actually have two interviews next week. I got my man Courtney Crosby coming on. Shout out to my dog Courtney. I can't wait to talk with my homeboy. And then next Friday, man, I have Mr. Ron Days from Gullah Gullah Island. He's going to be coming on, man. So very, very, very excited about this. I reached out to him, and he hit me back, and he said, tell me what it is. Give me a little backstory. And I told him about the podcast, why I do what I do. And he was like, hey, listen, Anthony Ray, we can talk. And I said, well, let's get it then. So we on next Friday, so y'all be looking forward to that. You can find this episode once it's uploaded next week. It'll be on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It'll be on www.dadcanwetalk.com. I'll be posting the links on Facebook. If you go to my Instagram, I have a link tree in my bio. You can go on there and find out wherever the podcast is at. It's in all types of places. You can just simply go to Google and type in Dad Can We Talk, and the podcast will pop up there. So y'all continue to stay tuned, continue supporting all of these dads out here. If you hear this and you want to hear more, go down, scroll on down. We got plenty of episodes, plenty of stories from all different perspectives, all different men from different walks of life. Go and hear those men's stories and support these young men. So when we out of here, y'all, that's it. It's Dad Can We Talk. We out.